Alright, for state constitutions, this is number 2, written source for Malaysian legal sources. For state constitutions, we don't actually go in depth in this, and because we cannot actually discuss much on this state constitutions. So under the federal constitution, under the FC, it's provided under Article 74, subsection 2, right? Under the state list, that I have mentioned just now, whereby the state under the state legislative assemblies, state legislative assembly, then they can enact laws, right, regarding the rulers, executive council, legislative assembly, financial provision, state employees, amendment of the state constitutions. So, in every state of Malaysia, they have actually their own constitutions, their own constitutions. But bear in mind that the state constitution shall not be inconsistent with the federal constitutions. So if the state constitutions in any state in Malaysia inconsistent with any provision in the state constitution inconsistent with the FC, then the FC will prevail. So the related provisions in the state constitutions can be declared void, invalid, right? So normally we don't have a case whereby the state constitutions, any provision the state constitution violate or act as ultra vires. So this is legal term. I show you ultra, ULTRA, is like Ultraman, ultra vires. Which means that the state constitutions cannot violate or make any laws which is above the FC. Right? For instance, when the state assembly, legislative assembly make laws regarding under the federal list, then it's violence, then it's ultra vires, then it will be declared ultra vires because it's not under the state list. Or the state list make laws in which the punishment is higher than in a federal laws. So that is also considered as ultra vires. Okay, that kind of law can be void. Okay. For instance, when the Islamic law, for example, regarding, for example, in criminal matters in Islamic law for Muslim, whatever, right? So there is a punishment. That punishment cannot be, higher than the punishment stated in the federal laws. Okay, cannot be higher than, for example, like death penalty. So death penalty cannot be enacted under the state laws. So it's considered as ultra vires. So in other words, any state constitution, or actually there is the state assembly, legislative assembly can make laws, but those laws must be inconsistent with the FC. Okay, right. Okay, number 3 is legislation. So when talking about legislation, it also include Okay, sorry. It also include statute, also it's the same, statute or act, it's also considered as legislation, But for we don't say to enact act something like that, they just call to enact law, to enact legislation. But the name of that legislation is the act, the act. For example, we call that Employment Act, Employment Act 1955. So this is a federal, the parliament, the parliament that make the act. Okay, we have, I call it Trade Union Act. Trade Union Act. We have AUKU, AUKU. It's very popular among students, right? Right, AUKU. Okay, so many more, There are a lot of thousand of act enacted by the parliaments, Okay. So for legislation, it always refer to parliament. Legislation always refer to parliament and also state legislative assemblies. Right. Okay. So as far as the parliament is concerned, so we're talking about parliament. It consists of Dewan Rakyat and Dewan Negara. Okay. Right. These two bodies. So for legislation under the parliament, it is called ordinance. When it was made between 46 until 57. If they were passed between 46 to 57, they were called as ordinance. But for 57 onwards, they are called an act. It's just a matter of term, But as far as the effect is concerned, they are the same. But for now, actually, most of the legislation they are acts, acts. So ordinance, in other words, is a old laws lah. I think there are not actually when the ordinance being revised, then they are actually becomes an act. So I think there is no ordinance anymore lah. But if you come across the ordinance which is made by the parliament, then you know that it's between 46 to 57. But it's very small number lah. Okay. If the legislation is made by state legislative assembly, or we call as DUN, we call this Dewan Undangan Negeri, we call this as a DUN, right? Dewan Undangan Negeri, right? We call it as a enactment. Okay, we call it as a enactment. So if you come across the word enactment, so that is to show that the law, that legislation is made by the state, or the DUN. So okay, for Sarawak, state of Sarawak, instead of they call as enactment, they call as a ordinance, which is the term same with the term used in the parliament made between 46 to 57. But if you can if you come across the word ordinance and it is from Sarawak, then you know there is this the that ordinance is actually from the state of Sarawak. But other part of Malaysia they call as a enactments. Okay, so it's simple, right? Simple. Okay. Okay, so the next is how a bill becomes the law. Okay, how the bills become the law. Okay, so bill is translated as rang RUU, rang undang-undang. This is in Malay, rang undang-undang. So it's not a bill your electricity something like that. It is a bill of a law, right? So become when it before the law we call as law, it is a bill. So okay, so this is how the procedures the process of a bill when it before it becomes the law. The first is normally the law, right? That law is recommended by certain ministries, by certain ministries. For example, like ministries of finance, okay, when they want to make a law, for example, MOF, so they first initiate the proposal. Okay, it was drafted by the related ministry. So after that, it goes to AG chambers. AG means Attorney General. Okay, Attorney General. So in other words, when it comes to the AG chambers, the officers of AG chambers will check the proposal and will verify the proposal made by the ministry or minister. Okay, when they check that draft, after checking the draft then goes to Dewan Rakyat for the first reading. For the first reading, during this first reading, they are not debated. So the minister concerned who proposed that law will actually just mention that there will be a bill to be debated, but they just mention about the proposal. Okay, not debated yet. Then after that, for the second reading, then the debate ensues. The debate ensues. So this is the crucial way in the second reading, whereby the members of parliament, especially Dewan Rakyat, they will debate the law, right? You can see, as you can see in the parliament, right, in the TV or something like that. Then the debate usually will, you know, the law will be debated in very, sometimes in very, if the law is something like what you call it, something hot lah, so it will be debated in the, sometime in not in a proper manner, but this is it is norms in the parliament, especially in Dewan Raya. Right, so after that it will goes to discussion in the select committee. The normally the yang dipertua of Dewan Rakyat will nominate certain members of parliament comprising the government and the opposition to form a committee. Actually, this committee actually will check thoroughly on that kind of law. Then it goes to the third reading, and this is also very crucial moment whereby there will be a vote. There will be a vote in the Dewan Rakyat. So those whether a bill can proceed or not depends on this stage. Depend on this stage. If vote is okay, which is normally on the part of the government, if it is okay by simple majority, right? If it's simple majority, as you know that Dewan Rakyat consists of two, 2 members. So at least two vote for okay lah, to proceed the bill. If two okay proceed, then it goes to Dewan Negara. Okay. So this stage is very crucial during this stage. Then when we go to Dewan Negara, it's not so crucial anymore lah. Dewan Negara will follow the same procedures. There will be first reading, second reading, third reading in the Dewan Negara. Then after that, it goes to the Royal Assent. Royal Assent is the process whereby the law will have to get the royal approval from the Yang Tan Agong. Okay. However, what happens if the bill is not, what happens if the Yang Tan Agong disapprove the bill? So it's clear in the Federal Constitution there is a provision in the Constitution whereby even Yang Tan Agong not disapprove lah. Even Yang Tan Agong not give any response to the bill within 30 days, or expiry of 30 days, the bill automatically becomes law. Okay, so in other words, it's a matter of procedures only for Tuan Agong to actually to make a royal assent on that. As long as we need to say irrespective of the Yang Tan Agong whether he disapprove or not, as long as it goes to YDPA within expiry of 30 days, then the bill becomes the law. But so far there is no issue lah. There's no issue whereby the Yang Tan Agong disapprove or reluctant to give a royal assent. So far there's no case. Right. So if there is a case, there will be another what you call that, hot issues in our country. Okay, then okay. So after the parliamentary process, right? Okay, Yang Tan Agong shall become force until it has been published. Okay, so the issue is when the law can be enforced. When the law can be enforced. Yeah. Enforced. I'm using a mouse, so my handwriting is quite deplorable lah, right. When the law becomes it can be enforced, the issue is that when it's after getting a royal assent, so the law it will be enforced when it be gazetted in the Federal Gazette, in wata kerajaan. So after that we need to say the rakyat knows about the law. So once gazetted, then normally in the act normally they show that what is the date of enforcement of being gazette. So it's just like you when you purchase a product, there will be the expiry, right? So the same like the law will state when the date of the it being gazetted, and once gazetted, it is can be enforced. So the effect of date of enforcement is that, let's say the law goes to Yang Tuan Agong on 1st October. However, it only be gazetted on, for example, 1 January. This is 2020. This one is, let's say, 21. 2020, 21. So gap between this, the law cannot be enforced anymore. But 1st January 21 onward, it can be enforced. Especially when the law which regard the criminal, so those crime committed prior to, for example, like January 1st, so they cannot actually, they're not subject to the new law. It may subject to the previous law, or if there is no law, then you cannot do anything lah. But the date of enforcement reflects the any consequence or legal consequence of the crime committed, especially the crime committed after the date of enforcement. Right. So that is the legal consequence lah, in terms of the date is concerned, right? If a criminal is concerned, if there are civil cases, then likewise in the civil cases, you only also enforce that particular kind of suit will be enforced after the January 1st. Okay, understood? Right. Okay.